Friends, I am Dr. Amdekar. I am going to discuss today a very important aspect which we are aware of but we have often forgotten and not remembering it. And that is, are we just the disease managers or also the health promoters? Well, before we joined medicine, we remember to have learned in physics heat but not cold, and we learnt light but not darkness. This is simply because lack of heat was coldness and lack of light was darkness, and there was no reason to learn either coldness or darkness when you learn the light or heat. Well, in modern medicine, we were trained largely with an emphasis on diseases and very little on health. But you look back several years, generations ago, of our old Indian system of medicine, and that is Ayurveda. And as the name suggests, it means the science of life. And Ayurveda gives a lot of emphasis on health more than disease. And obviously, lack of health becomes a disease. Of course, beyond an emphasis on health, it also talks about salvation, that is moksha, and also the soul, that is atma. But in medicine, we are concerned largely with health when you look at Ayurveda and not just an emphasis on disease. But in Western medicine, we thought we had an emphasis on disease, and therefore we became disease managers more than health promoters. Now we all know that when we buy a new equipment, with the equipment comes a brochure which gives all the information about how to handle this machine well and effectively. But the newborn comes into this world without any such brochure sent by the nature, because the nature knows that the previous generation, the seniors in the family, do possess the traditional wisdom and knowledge, and that would be passed on to the newly arrived parents and the baby. However, in today's world, those seniors with traditional wisdom are certainly lacking, and therefore it's we the doctors who need to kind of give adequate information about the health to our patients. It is not only to a newborn or a small infant, but at all age groups. Whenever we see a patient who has come to you because of suffering, we need to kind of promote health in this patient, and that is important, and that is absolutely our responsibility and should be our commitment. Having said this, we go further to discuss what really health means. And friends, health is not just the physical health, which is measured by weight and height, but besides that, we need to look at the development of all organs and their functional integrity. What do you mean by the functional integrity of every organ? For example, the function of the brain, we need to kind of stimulate it, stimulate the neurons which are newly developing. They are developing synapses, connection between all of them, and they have a capability of going further ahead to make us think, interpret, rationally analyze, and this is possible only when you stimulate the brain by reading, by interaction, by discussion, and finally we must be aware that either we use these neurons or lose them, and therefore see that right from early childhood the habits of reading, discussing, talking, interacting are all inculcated, and that's the good way to kind of maintain the functional integrity of the brain. This is true right up to the old age. When you keep on reading, discussing, talking, keep your neurons busy and active, otherwise you lose them. Same way, when you want to keep your lungs fit, you must have a good physical exercise to breathe well. Either you take part in sports and active running, jogging, or of course you could do breathing exercises like yoga or with art of living. And what about the maintaining good function of the heart. Again, a good physical exercise, aerobic and anaerobic, will keep the heart muscle going strong. And the health of the kidneys by taking adequate amount of liquids, fluid, and of course maintaining a little control on salt consumption, and maintaining the health of the liver by not consuming toxins and poisons to the liver, but also for doctors to avoid hepatotoxic drugs. And for the bones, we must get into the sun rays and take a free supply of vitamin D, and along with it, of course, calcium coming through dairy products and vegetables and so on. Friends, therefore, physical health is just not weight and height, but also maintaining the maturity of function and the integrity of function of every organ. But beyond this physical growth, there is also a mental health. What is this mental health means really? It largely means training mind to be happy, to be satisfied, to always have a positive attitude in life, and learning emotional balance, which means we must make our mind strong to kind of weather the problems. Even in case of defeat, the mind should really be positive, decide what made you get into defeat and try to improve upon it, but have a good emotional balance so that our mind remains calm and quiet. Besides the emotional health of the mind, there is also social health, which means that we are not individuals here. We are a part of the society, part of the family, part of the nation, and we owe to each other to kind of develop further. We need to interact, we need to discuss, we must have friends, and I think that's keeping a social health. And beyond that, a philosophical health, which means there are standards laid by the community how we should be behaving, and also the standards laid in our individual families. We must inculcate our mind to be trained to follow those philosophical standards laid down by our community. And finally, the spiritual health. What is the spiritual health? Spiritual health is to take care of 6 enemies of the mind: Kama, Krodha, Lobha, Moha, Mada, Matsara, which means desire, Kama, Krodha, anger, Lobha is a greed, Moha is attachment, and then of course the ego and hatred. Friends, we must remind ourselves to keep these 6 enemies away from us as much as possible. I am sure I have not succeeded in doing all that, but I am aware, and even at this age I try to control my mind. Then we know that to promote health, it's not only physical and mental health together. We should have a harmonious balance between physical and mental health. Finally, I am sure you all agree that as a doctor, it is our responsibility towards the health of our patients, and we get lot of opportunities to meet them when they suffer. But please ensure that you take this opportunity to even promote their health, giving them adequate information, and that alone will make not only individuals, not only the family, not only the community, but the whole nation will strive better and better. That's what we want today in our country. We have talents. As doctors, we are one of the best educated and talented. We must be committed to promote health and not just manage diseases. I hope I have stressed the point very strongly and firmly, and we all should start following it. It will give us the blessing and it will help the nation at large. Next episode again will be presented by me, and the title would be Is Medicine Science or Art? I hope you are enjoying this new YouTube channel, and I hope you continue to do it. Thank you very much.